Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Patek Philippe 5213G-010. This 5213G can be seen and purchased on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on that card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this automatic winding perpetual calendar retrograde minute repeating officer's watch. Now, that's the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen for pricing, accessories included, and extra photos. Now, on my wrist, you can see that the watch is a large contemporary Patek Philippe, but it also continues the very old-school Patek Philippe tradition of issuing officers-style watches, and we'll explore what that means in a moment. Let's talk about the bare dimensions. The timepiece is a large for Patek, 40 millimeters across the round of the case from 3 to 9. That doesn't include the crown, and it doesn't include the repeater slide, but the watch is also quite slim. Now, you'll note 12.5 millimeters thick with a generously domed bezel and sapphire. This is easy to slide underneath a dress cuff or a formal tight sleeve. Now, from lug to lug, although the lugs are beautifully pronounced in officer's fashion, the watch only measures 47 millimeters, so its span across the wrist is not ungainly or overbearing. I would say down to a wrist size of perhaps as small as 13.5, certainly 14 centimeters in circumference. You should be able to wear this watch with great panache, security, and proportion. The watch does have heft to it. It's a timepiece in white gold with a hinged hunter-style caseback, so you get the best of both worlds, as I like to say. You get the extra value of the solid gold caseback, and you get the beauty and visibility of the sapphire. It's beautifully finished inside. You can see the inside of the case almost mirrored with its polish, such that you can easily see the movement reflected, but perhaps more to the point, you can have the watch customized or personalized without defacing it externally. Now, the timepiece fits easily on a smaller wrist, partly because the officer's style lugs are so short cropped and turn down so sharply after they exit the case flank. The strap is a alligator leather strap with a matte black finish, monotone stitch, and folded edges, and it terminates in a simple, classical, and easily adjusted Patek Philippe spade-style pin buckle. Now, the lugs do have a tremendous amount of character. Just like the rest of the case, it's worth delineating what actually constitutes an officer's-style watch. First, you need a large round case because the officer-style watch is modeled after converted pocket watches with welded lugs that were used as trench timepieces by officers during the First World War. So it should have something of a converted pocket watch aesthetic. We have that. We have that in the beautifully domed bezel. We have that in the wonderfully large round case. But we also have the straight welded lugs. There's really no grace to these lugs when viewed from straight head-on. You can see that in profile, they look as though they were soldered on almost as an afterthought for the conversion of a pocket watch in the early 20th century. Of course, from the side, you can see the degree of complexity, including the integration of the lug with the case flank with the slide track. This is a beautifully assembled timepiece, and no attention to detail nor expense is spared in making sure that those welded lugs are artisanal to the point of virtuosity. Moreover, you'll note the use of screws. While this certainly makes it easier to fix the strap and keep it there very secure for fairly large, heavy complication, the use of screws and bars was germane to the type during the First World War and the period immediately after. Finally, it's worth noting the combination of the vintage onion-style winding crown and, of course, on the caseback, the hunter-style hinge. Oftentimes, in the classical period of the early 20th century, this would be the point at which a dedication would be made to the officer on his way out to battle, or perhaps commemoration of his return home intact, either one worthy of a caseback inscription. But it's the dial of this watch where much of the excitement comes into play. Now, the bezel is large, and it actually shares billing with the dial. The timepiece featuring a substantial silver matte finished dial with matching white gold applied Breguet-style Arabic numerals, as well as white gold Breguet-style hands at center. Now, there is a foy or leaf-style hand for the retrograding date, as well as the constant second subdial at 6 o'clock. Aperture calendar display is used with day, leap year cycle phase and month, and then of course there is the radial retrograding date, and there's a 122-year moon phase at 6 o'clock, so called because it only needs adjustment once every 122 years. Now, you'll also note that underneath the caseback, The excitement continues. The watch is equally engaging front and back, and here you can see the 41 jewel automatic winding micro rotor caliber R27 PSQR, the QR standing for Quantième Retrograde. The watch features beautiful black polished repeater hammers, a free-sprung Gyromax style balance, and the advantage of those two is the repeaters being gorgeous, the Gyromax being fairly rugged. They make the watch both sonorous and able to take and hold a precise regulation, even in the face of fairly severe vibrations and bumps on the wrist. Now, you'll also note the gold filigree style Calatrava cross. Underneath is where the repeater's governor is actually occupied. So I'm going to run the repeater again so you can see it in action, and this time look at the cross and you'll note the governor spins into action as soon as I release the slide. Now, it's important to note that this is perhaps the best of both worlds. A perpetual calendar that winds itself such that if you wear it every single day, it's essentially set it and forget it accurate, and a watch that, though it bears no luminescence on its dial, nevertheless can communicate the time with or without daylight. However, with daylight you get to enjoy the visual aspects of the repeater's operation, which is half of the fun. Now, of course, being a micro rotor, it is slim, and that's the advantage of a micro rotor. Automatic winding, that you get an unobstructed view of the movement, and if you turn the watch over, you'll even note that you get a view of the balance underneath. This is all to the standard of the Patek Philippe seal. This watch had a remarkably short production run, having bowed at Baselworld in 2012. Every single one was made in the era of the Patek Philippe seal, which was post-July 2009. This is also a watch that had a short run because it was discontinued. As of this model year, it is no longer cataloged. So, considering that it is a Patek Philippe chiming watch, an application piece granted only upon application and approval, built perhaps in only a few dozen copies in any given metal, the watch, now discontinued, still eminently desirable, can be seen and purchased on our website.